Piatra is a beautiful place filled with good people who are moving in a positive direction imperfectly. The people come to the workshops to learn, to see friends, to improve their lives, and as they understand their own lives, they can understand the lives of children better. When I know myself better, then I can be more positive and encouraging and loving in my approach to others. I have worked with you and your autism clinic and have seen it evolve. And I have seen the staff evolve. And I have seen you now, you and your group, begin to go to other countries to present your ideas. The three Romanian words I like a great deal are ușurel, speranță, and courage. And as I see those develop and evolving, that's very satisfying for me.
Bună ziua, domnule Wes Wingett. Bun venit în Piatra Neamt.
Hello, Mr. Wes Wingett, and welcome to Piatra Neamt.
Thank you. It's nice to be here again.
Suntem la a 7-a întâlnire.
This is our 7th meeting now.
Și la al 3-lea interviu.
And this is the 3rd interview that we do together.
Cum este pentru dumneavoastră să vă întoarceți în Piatra Neamt a 7-a oară?
How is it for you to be back in Piatra Neamt for the 7th time?
It's delightful to be here again, and the weather here is really, really beautiful. And I think that Piatra Neamt is a beautiful place filled with good people who are moving in a positive direction imperfectly. That as we move through the world, we have to deal with the imperfections of the world, but I find constant evolution in a positive direction when I come to Piatra Neamt.
În Piatra Neamt, oamenii te recunosc pe stradă.
In Piatra Neamt, when you come, people recognize you in the street.
Care este ingredientul esențial ce îi face pe oameni să vină la cursurile tale?
Which is the main ingredient that draws people to come to your workshops?
Well, I don't know. I've always tried to figure out what on earth would people want to come and hear me for. However, when I get beyond that joking kind of a stage, I think that I'm well prepared and I like the subject matter. And I like working with groups of people to help improve the world. When I come to Piatra Neamt, people recognize me probably because I'm fairly tall and I look like an American and I dress like an American, and when I open my mouth, I don't sound like a Romanian. My Romanian is not very good at all. I bumble through some words. And I think that the people come to the workshops to learn, to see friends, to improve their lives, to improve themselves and the people around them. And I think that they know that I'm going to be here predictably and consistently, and that the way that I present the material is pretty much the same every year. Different ideas, but the style of presentation doesn't change a great deal. And I think that people are attracted to that. I also think that people are attracted to the idea that when I go here, I will feel good about myself, and I will also learn things that I can apply to myself and my life.
Aș vrea să adaug aici că motivul pentru care eu aș veni să te văd a 7-a oară
I'd like to add that the reason why I would come to see you again for the 7th time
este pentru că, din punct de vedere al terapeutului care sunt,
is that as a therapist,
îmi plac foarte mult demonstrațiile pe care le faci cu cursanții.
I really like the demonstrations that you perform with the participants to the workshops.
Sunt foarte profunde.
All your demonstrations are very deep, very meaningful.
Și de fiecare dată simt că pot să învăț ceva nou.
And every time you come here, I feel that I actually can learn something new.
Și să aprofundez un mod de a lucra cu oamenii foarte umanist.
While also going deeper into a working style which is very humankind, very human.
The way I think about psychology is based on the psychology of Alfred Adler. And Alfred Adler was a common man, studied in Vienna, eventually went to the United States, and he trained counselors by interviewing people in public. And he trained counselors to be empathic, to be encouraging, to be educational, and to treat people as equals. And those are some of the ideas that I take with me as I work with interviewing people in public and also in private.
Tema de anul acesta este foarte atrăgătoare.
This year's topic is really attractive.
Ce sau cine te-a inspirat să alegi această temă?
What, or better, who inspired you to choose this topic?
Well, it's an interesting kind of a story for me. This is my 12th trip to Romania, and I come every year as a volunteer to teach Adlerian psychology. And about 6 or 7 or 8 years ago, maybe I was in Brela, and a woman was talking with me about something that she does with children. She's a psychologist there, and she said, I ask children to make drawings about how they would like to have the world be. And I wrote it down, and I thought, that is a nice idea. I'm going to see what I can do with that. And I just kind of had it in my brain and had it written down. And then several years ago, I was here in Piatra, and I was riding the train back to Bucharest. And after I had done a workshop, or typically after I do a workshop, I want to write. I want to write down ideas. And I began to write on my computer. I began to write possible prompts or statements that I could use with children and adolescents to help them understand themselves and for us to understand them through their drawings and illustrations. So the original idea came from Brela, and my first original typing on my computer, entering material in my computer, happened on the train between Piatra and Bucharest one Sunday morning. One cold Sunday morning in the train I was typing, going back to Bucharest.
Ce vor învăța oamenii anul acesta din seminarul pe care o să-l prezinți legat de ilustratiile copiilor?
What are people going to learn this year from the seminar related to children's illustrations?
They're going to learn theory-based illustrations. That is, I'm going to ask children or ask people to do drawings about their own lives, and as they understand their own lives, they can understand the lives of children better. Also, as they understand their own lives, then I will help them apply the ideas to working with children. Let me give you an example. One of the ideas of Alfred Adler is the idea of doing for the good of others because it needs to be done. Or an old Romanian word that's used to describe the same idea comes from the countryside, and it's called claca. Doing for the good of others because it needs to be done. So I have in the set of illustrations 2 illustrations that go like this, something like this. Draw a picture of a time when someone helped you. And the second illustration is draw a picture of a time when you help someone else. So when children and adolescents begin to make those illustrations, then what we as adults can do is not analyze, but ask for the story behind the illustration. For example, what we can ask the child is, tell the child or the adolescent, we can ask them to tell us the story behind the illustration. Tell us the story that the illustration is about.
De ce sunt atât de importante desenele legate de evenimentele din trecut și mai ales din copilărie?
Why are they so important, these drawings related to events in the past and in particular related to events in the childhood?
Adlerians believe that we develop, by the time we're 5 or 6, we develop a basic pattern relating to ourselves and others in the world that Adlerians call lifestyle. And then we take that lifestyle, that personality, and we try it out. We tried it out at our homes and our families when we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we take it into school and primary school, and we try our lifestyle, and we might make some changes. And about the age of 10, many Adlerians believe that the lifestyle, that is the typical way that we move through the world, is pretty much formulated. And if we want to understand children in the past and in the present, if we want to understand children and adolescents in the past and their present and their future, we need to understand their past as a way to understand the rest of their lives moving forward.
Cursul pare să fie unul în care fiecare participant va avea foarte multe insight-uri.
This year's seminar seems to be one where the participants shall have many insights.
De fapt, toate seminariile tale au această idee de a descoperi lucruri despre sine.
In fact, this is something common to all your seminars,
Yes.
where people come and discover something about themselves.
Îmi place acest gen de workshop.
I really like this kind of workshop.
Și aș vrea să întreb în ce măsură dezvoltarea personală a părintelui influențează viitorul copilului.
I would like to ask you, to which extent does the parent's personal development influence the child's future?
I can't remember what Greek philosopher it was that said, know thyself. He said, physician, know thyself. And I think that we can put any word, any title or occupation in front of that. Friend, know thyself. Spouse, know thyself. Parent, know thyself. When I know myself better, then I can be more positive and encouraging and loving in my approach to others. And self-awareness is only as good as we apply it in our daily lives. We need to take the material that we've learned and apply it slowly and gently as we move into the world. I love a Romanian word that I learned from a young cab driver in Bucharest. The traffic was like this, and people were beeping their horns. And I said to him, "How do you drive in this traffic?" And he said, I can hear you talking to your friend in English, and I can hear you wanting to learn some Romanian words. And I said, "Yeah, I sure do." And he said, "I'll give you a Romanian word." He said, "When I drive in traffic like this," he said, "I think ușurel, ușurel." And I like very much that idea. When we do some self-discovery, that when we go out from the self-discovery, that we be calm and kind. Ușurel, ușurel.
Mă gândesc că în sală sunt mulți participanți psihologi.
I'm thinking that today and tomorrow in the seminar, in the conference room, there will be many therapists
Și părinți.
and parents as well.
Yes.
Și legat de terapeuți, și ei vor lucra un caiet pentru ei
When it
înșiși.
comes to therapists, they will also work on some notebooks, some workbooks that will be given to them.
Și aș vrea să întreb, iarăși, în ce măsură acești terapeuți pot schimba viitorul copilului lucrând cu el.
I would like to know how could this therapist could actually change and help the children influence their future by working with them.
The workbook that they will be working through has several components of Adlerian psychology embedded in the material. One of them is the understanding of personality. The first set of illustrations has to do with 6 different ways that Adler prescribes in understanding people. Also in Adlerian psychology, we talk about the idea of goal-directed behavior, of looking at the purpose of the behavior, what direction does our behavior take us, that we want to look at where are you going, and where are you going with your behavior, and does it get you what is good for yourself and others. That component will be studied in the illustrations. We're also going to take a look at people who have been encouraging to us. One of the things that I like to ask many, many times, when you were growing up before age 10, 12, who was it that really believed in you? Who was it that said, an adult that said, I believe in you? Or they acted in such a way that you knew that you had the experience that they believed in you. And that's the idea of encouragement. And we'll do some work about encouragement. We'll also do some work about how we fit in our families. Because Adlerians believe that we are always looking, that individuals are always looking for a way to fit into first of all, a family, and then a school, and then a community. And we're going to take a look at friendship. And many times children and adolescents have challenges with friendships. And one of the things that I use here in Romania, we don't have this in the US, but one of the things that I ask people many times is this. Think back when you were in primary school and you had a seatmate. Who was your favorite seatmate that you'd ever had? And what did you like about that seatmate? And that might be the seeds for friendship. I also ask to have people do illustrations, to do an illustration about friendship. In fact, there are 3 pieces there about friendship. One is to draw a picture of a girl that you liked, or a girl who was a friend of yours when you were a young person. And draw a picture of a boy who was a friend of yours when you were a young person. And draw a picture of your friends playing, or of you and your friends doing something together. So we use the material as a way to study current life situations and to help children and adolescents to have a more healthy and helpful life.
Acum aș avea o altă întrebare legată de înțelegerea copiilor și adolescenților.
Here's another question related to children and adolescents understanding.
Pentru că te-am auzit spunând despre faptul că participanții la curs vor învăța despre cum să înțelegem pe copii și adolescenți prin ilustrațiile lor.
Since I've just heard you say that by coming to this workshop, people will be able to understand children and adolescents via their illustrations.
Yes.
Mă gândeam că acest lucru este cel mai greu de făcut.
I was thinking that this is actually one of the most difficult things to do.
Oamenii au standarde și scopuri de atins pentru copiilor.
People generally have standards and high goals for their children to reach.
Și de cele mai multe ori nu avem timp sau nu avem preocuparea de a înțelege cu adevărat.
And most of the time we lack the necessary time to understand them, to really understand them.
De aceea întrebarea mea este, de fapt, ce ar trebui să înțelegem la un copil? Dacă ați putea descrie mai exact.
My question would be actually, how could we understand, or what should we understand from a child?
Well, one of the things we can do to understand children is to forget electronics for about an hour a night in our families. That might be a real helpful start, that we shut down computers, telephones, anything that has a plug-in, and spend time with our families. The most important variable in any human relationship is the amount of time spent together alone in mutually shared activities. And one of the things we can come to understand ourselves and others is if we share activities and do activities together that are cooperative, for example, that help us contribute to others, help us connect to others, and demonstrate our capabilities with others. I think one of the things that we think is we live in a busy world, and I'm not sure that's true. I think our world would be less busy and more fun, less chaotic, if we would maybe just take a little more time for ourselves and others. The cell phone, I'm living 28 days without a cell phone, without a mobile phone, and I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. And I think that we as adults many times say we don't have time. I challenge adults to this. If you don't have time for your children, what do you have time for? If you don't have time for your children, then what is important in your life? It's time that we arrange our priorities. If we have high expectations, then we need to do things to help children meet those expectations. We need to be their partners as they move through life.
Care este cel mai important moment pentru tine în cursul celor 7 ani petrecuți în Piatra Neamt?
What would you say it is the most important moment for you within the 7 past years that you spent here in Piatra Neamt?
As I think about that, I think I can remember the first time that I was here. And I think that the moments that I remember is not one moment, but an ongoing evolution of people and ideas and expanding the influence of positive psychology here in Piatra Neamt and in Piatra Neamt County. And also beyond. For example, one of the things that's happened in Piatra Neamt is there have been visitors from other communities and this year from other countries who are coming to the workshop. And this year I'm going to Suceava for the second year in a row based on some people that were here in Piatra Neamt 2 or 3 or 4 years. I also am really excited about the young people who are becoming involved and interested in psychology. For example, I just received a message on Facebook from a friend of mine in Suceava who attended, I think, 2 or 3 workshops, 2 workshops in a row, and she was 16 when she came to the first one, and I asked her to get permission from her mother and father, from her school counselor, and from the workshop director, and she got all of those, then she attended. She sent me a note the other day indicating that she would be studying psychology next year when she entered university, and part of it was having been here at some workshops in Piatra Neamt. And this year there are some other young people who are going to be attending, and I'm excited about that opportunity. I also like the wide age range and a wide occupation range of people who attend, because that means we're affecting a large community. And everyone who leaves is going to go and affect someone, hopefully in a more positive way. So it's not been one event, it's been an ongoing evolution. I give you another example. I have worked with you and your autism clinic and have seen it evolve. And I have seen the staff evolve. And I have seen you now, you and your group, begin to go to other countries to present your ideas, and other parts of Romania to present your ideas. That's inspiring for me. That gives me another one of my favorite Romanian words is speranță. And three Romanian words I like a great deal are ușurel, speranță, and courage. And as I see those developing and evolving, that's very satisfying for me.
Cred că acest sentiment este reciproc.
I believe this feeling is somehow mutual.
Această evoluție a fost tocmai pentru că am avut un mentor care să ne inspire și să ne încurajeze.
This evolution is partly due to the fact that we had a real mentor to help us and inspire us.
Poate ai fost printre singurii oameni care au ascultat cu adevărat ceea ce avem noi să spunem.
I believe that you were one of the few people who actually took time to listen to us, to what we had to say.
Să accepti să vii să vezi modul în care lucrăm cu copiii cu autism.
The fact that you accepted to come over and take a look at the way we actually work with autistic children, this is really important as well.
Să vezi modul în care aplicăm teoria adleriană și principiile adleriene.
You took time to watch us take over and work with Adlerian theories and principles.
Și modul în care le aplicăm pe copil și familie.
It was really nice of you to come over and have a look at the way we actually apply this on children and their families as well.
Și pentru echipa Being Myself ai fost o ancoră.
I must tell you that you are a true anchor for the Be Myself team.
Și pentru aceasta îți suntem foarte recunoscători și suntem onorați.
We are very grateful to have you, and we are very honored to have you again among us.
Thank you. Mulțumesc, mulțumesc, mulțumesc. I believe I tell you a story from when I was a little boy. When I was a little boy, I lived with my mother and my father and my 77-year-old great uncle. And he always talked about going back to the old country. He was from Denmark. And I don't know whether he ever did. I think maybe he did go back to Denmark. I'm not sure. We went to visit once. But when I was a little boy, my mother said I always wanted to go back to the old country. And when I came to Romania for the first time, and the first two countries I visited here in Europe to work was in Hungary and Romania. And when I came to both countries, I thought, I have returned to the old country. I now have returned to my roots. And I want to give back as my ancestors had given to me. And I study Alfred Adler's ideas, and he was a common man with common words and common ideas and with common goal of helping the world be a better place. And that's what I've taken on as my goal most of the time, imperfectly, to create a better world. And I want to be here, and I want to experience life as you experience it during the brief month that I'm here every year. I want to be part of, I want to join, I want to be a traveler in life, not a tourist in life.
E foarte frumos ceea ce spui.
This metaphor that you just used is very nice, very beautiful.
Și în acest parteneriat mereu și noi simțim același lucru.
Within this partnership that we have with you, we always have the feeling of the same thing. We have the same feeling as you do.
Alături de tine suntem noi înșine.
When we're with you, we feel that we're ourselves.
Și că nu jucăm un rol.
We feel that we're not actually playing a part.
Și că suntem naturali.
We feel that we're natural.
Și că putem crește alături de tine.
And we have the strong belief that we can grow along with you.
Thank you, thank you. And I have a sign in my office in Nebraska where I live, and the sign says, "You have touched me, I have grown." And I keep that, I like that very much, to see that. You have touched me, I have grown.
Când promovezi eventul cu Wes Wingett,
When you promote the event with Wes Wingett,
spun același lucru de fiecare dată.
say the same thing every time.
Wes este cel care vă va atinge sufletele.
I always tell the potential participants that Wes is the person who is going to touch your souls.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Acum vom merge și la ultima întrebare.
We'll now go to the last question we have prepared for you.
Ce alte proiecte pregătești pentru anii viitori?
What other projects do you have in mind for the following years?
One of the things I've been thinking about for next year is to do a workshop on working with adolescents in counseling and in individual counseling and in groups. And that's one of the things I've been thinking about. I'm also going to ask the group or some of the group participants what would be most helpful or useful for them in the future. I would like, my thinking right now is to build on the materials of this year, to move to how to work with adolescents, how to work with them individually, and how to work with them in groups, in small groups. And I think that would be most helpful. I want to bring practical, theory-based materials to work with others, and I'm thinking adolescence might be a focus for next year.
Ar fi o temă grozavă.
It would be a great topic, I believe.
Adolescenții sunt persoane foarte importante și cu o personalitate pregnantă la această vârstă.
Are very important persons, and at this age they have a very strong personality.
Și cred că anumite repere i-ar putea ajuta.
And I believe that certain references, certain prompts from you could actually help them.
Și cred că participanții ar fi interesați de o asemenea temă, ar considera o foarte utilă.
And I'm sure the potential participants would find this topic really useful and helpful as well.
I would hope so. I want to tell you a story. This happened this last week as I was coming to Piatra. I was riding the train from Bucharest to Piatra, and in Bacău, I didn't say that name correctly, but Bacau is the name of a city south of here, about an hour or an hour and a half by rail. And a group of adolescents entered the train. And they didn't have room to sit down, and I cleared my bags, and 3 adolescents sat down in where I was sitting, and 4 sat across the way from me, and I began to talk with them. And we had a wonderful conversation. These were young people who would gather together to go to another city and ridden the train from here to Bacău to see a movie and to spend some time together. And they were wonderful young people to talk with, both young men and young women. And I loved their wholesome attitude and their kindness. I said, I need some help with my bags when I get off of the train. And they said, oh, we'll help you. And I offered to give them a souvenir dollar bill from America, and they wouldn't take it. And I was really impressed with that. And then as I got off the train, there were 6 or 7 or 8 of them that gathered around me, and we were just talking and saying goodbye. And I loved their energy and their enthusiasm. And one of the things that they talked to me, 2 or 3 of them talked to me privately, or not privately, but talked to me as we were chatting, was about the environment and their concern about improving the environment. And I thought, they have speranza, they have hope, they have courage. And I encourage them to hang on to those ideas, because as Alfred Adler and many other people have said, the job of each generation is to improve life for themselves and the following generations. And that's the attitude that I saw with these young people, and I was really inspired and hopeful when I talked with them.
Aș vrea să îți mulțumesc pe final pentru toate aceste idei inspiraționale.
I would like to thank you for all this inspirational idea that you gave us.
Să-ți mulțumesc de fiecare dată că accepți acest interviu, să continuăm acest interviu.
I really want to thank you for your accepting this interview every year.
Și să-ți mulțumesc pentru ziua de ieri, care a fost dedicată în totalitate echipei Being Myself.
And I'd really like to thank you about yesterday for being next to Being Myself team all day long almost.
A fost o zi foarte emoționantă pentru noi.
It was a very exciting day for all of us.
Și plină de insight-uri.
It was really full of insights.
Iar astăzi ne pregătim pentru a începe cursul.
And today we are getting ready to start the seminar, the workshop.
Va fi o zi lungă.
I'm sure it's going to be a long day.
Și mâine vom continua.
And again, tomorrow is going to be a long day as well.
Și deja ne este dor.
And we already miss you.
Thank you. Cu plăcere.
Mulțumesc mult pentru acest interviu.
Thank you for the interview.
You're welcome, and thank you for inviting me, and thank you for listening, and thank you for being part of the audience. And Florian, thank you for being the individual who did all the taping and did the work to set up. I appreciate that.